Look at the dog run there. The loud boom that sent shockwaves across the D.C. region. Now at 5, we're digging deeper into the sonic boom you may have heard and the deadly plane crash connected to that sound. Thank you for being here with us on this Monday at 5. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
I'm Leslie Foster, and that loud boom was the sound of fighter jets heading to intercept a small plane entering a restricted fly area over D.C. The plane took off from Tennessee. It was headed for Long Island, New York yesterday afternoon, but that plane ended up crashing in Southwest Virginia.
All right, take a look now at this video from Sky 9. You can see what's left of that plane. You'll see it in just a moment. Unfortunately, the pilot and all 3 passengers did not survive. We'll show that to you in just a minute.
We have team coverage tonight. Eric Flack will have more on that sonic boom in just a moment. But let's begin with Melissa Kim with more on the investigation into the crash. Melissa, what have we learned?
Yeah, well, good evening, Lorenzo and Leslie. I spoke to officials at the NTSB, and they're trying to figure out exactly that, how that plane ended up flying over D.C. They're also trying to figure out when and why the pilot became unresponsive, changing the track of that flight and crashing in central Virginia about 180 miles away. Tonight, the view from above as investigators comb the wreckage of that Cessna aircraft that crashed on Sunday afternoon in Augusta County, Virginia. First responders describing the crash site as a crater in the ground with no survivors and very few clues left behind. The National Transportation Safety Board saying they'll spend 3 to 4 days in the mountains of Virginia.
The wreckage will be recovered and moved to Delaware, where we'll continue those investigative activities in a better place to examine that wreckage.
The plane took off Sunday afternoon from Elizabethton, Tennessee, heading for Long Island, New York. It got to Ronkonkoma, New York at 2:32. That's when the NTSB says the pilot became unresponsive. The plane turned around and then headed south, entering restricted airspace in D.C. around 3 o'clock. But not before it was intercepted by 2 F-16 fighter jets from Joint Base Andrews. Sources telling the Washington Post that the pilot of one of those military jets saw the Cessna's pilot slumped over. At 3:23, the plane crashed in Montebello, Virginia, killing the pilot and all of the passengers on board. Since 2014, the federal government requires flight data recorders, better known as black boxes, to be installed on planes that have at least 20 passenger seats. This Cessna did not, but NTSB investigator Adam Gerhardt says there could still be one on board.
This airplane was not required to have a black box or a cockpit voice recorder or flight data recorder. But we'll be looking at whether or not that equipment may have been installed. So right now it's still to be determined.
Gerhardt hoping that, along with the investigation, will answer a lot of questions.
I want to stress that we are here not only to figure out what happened, but why this happened, to prevent future accidents from happening again.
And NTSB officials say they hope to have a preliminary report in the next 10 days, but a final report, well, that could take up to 2 years. We're live at the Capitol tonight. I'm Melissa Kim, WUSA 9.
Such a tragedy, and so many people hoping that we find out what led up to all of this.